Okay, it is 6 o'clock, so I will go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everyone to the October 1st, 2020 meeting of the City of Saugatuck Historic District Commission. We will do a verbal call to order and roll call. Lewis.
Here.
Leo.
Here.
Davenport.
Here.
Patterson.
Here.
Panazzo. Canarsa is not here. Are we missing anybody? We have quorum. Okay, are there any additions or changes or deletions to the agenda? No. If not, I'd like to move to the approval of the minutes from our meeting dated September 3rd, 2020. Has everyone had a chance to review? And if so, do I have a motion to approve?
This is Garnet. Move to approve the minutes of the September 3rd meeting.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second, Davenport.
Thanks, Jennifer. We'll do a verbal roll call. All in favor signify by saying yes. Davenport?
Yes.
Leo?
Yes.
Panazzo?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Patterson?
Yes.
Straker is yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Do we have any public comment?
I just have a couple of things.
Okay.
I want everybody to welcome Dan Panozzo. He's our newest member. And he did a wonderful interview, and I'm sure he'll make a fine addition to our group. I also wanted to let everybody know that our envelopes for our ballots should be arriving tomorrow.
Hi. Yay.
We got the UPS notice that they'll be coming in tomorrow, and they usually come in between noon and 2. So as fast as we can stuff, after 2, we will get them out, and first thing on Monday morning, we'll work on that as well.
Awesome. Thank you. And welcome, Dan. Thanks for joining us. Is there any unfinished business? Hearing none, we will go to...
Jim?
Yes.
What about the election of officers? Wasn't that put off till this meeting?
Yes. You're
Yep.
right.
And I'm sorry I did not get it on the agenda, so there is an agenda change.
I'm so sorry. That's my fault too, Jennifer. For some reason, I completely zoned on that. Cindy, what's our protocol there? I feel like we needed a little pre-read on that prior versus making an agenda change and doing it on this meeting. Is that doable to do
Yes.
it at our next one?
Yep. Just remind me to get it on the agenda.
Yeah,
We
I'm
put
going
it
to
off
put it
for a
on my
while now.
calendar so that I don't forget. That's my fault. I'm so sorry about that.
Not a problem.
Okay, so we will go to item number 6, new business, 127 Hoffman Street. Looks like Guy, you are on the phone. Welcome.
Yes. Yep.
Cindy, do you want to give us a little tee up for this?
There's not a whole lot to introduce. Similar to what Bodie's wanted to do, Guy would like to extend his outdoor area by putting up retractable awnings and putting plexiglass behind the railing to help keep the heat in during the colder months that are coming. The city council just extended the ability to issue licensing through the end of November. So that's what we're looking at with Uncommon Grounds.
Okay, great. Guy, would you like to add anything to that that's not already written in the application in terms of what the structure looks like, how it attaches, vendors, anything like that?
I think everything's on the application.
I did this quickly,
Okay.
but I think it's all there. I'm sure
Okay.
you'll have questions. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to attach, but it will be attached in a way that if we remove it, it's not going to be destructive or to the building at all.
Okay. So two things. What I'll do is I'll kick us off by kind of going commissioner to commissioner and just getting everyone's questions or points of view on the application. So we'll go through the Q&A process that way. I'll call out on the background section of the application. This is a contributing resource that we're talking about. So we should think about that and know also that acknowledging that we're trying to be really flexible and open-minded around the situation everyone's facing and businesses are facing right now during the time of COVID, and how to bridge the challenging time we're in. Cindy, if you could scroll up just for everyone to sort of see everything that might be in the application in terms of additional material. I didn't remember seeing any drawings or vendor examples of this, but maybe it's in the application and I didn't see it.
Aaron, are there more pages than 5?
No.
No.
So I know you had
And
a,
there's just photographs. I didn't draw anything up. I just realized the meeting went on, I think, Monday.
Okay. I did see the other part of the application that had photos of the building. And it doesn't look like we have those here, but I think we're going to need to talk about specifics, like literal understanding, like where it spans, how far it comes out, what
Okay.
bridges between the top of the railing and the awning, what the vendor, like where are you sourcing this? We're going to need those details to really have a conversation versus.
Okay. I can show you. Do you not have the drawings?
I'm sorry, give me 1 second. I just noticed there's more attachments in Cindy's. I'm sorry, I didn't see those. Let me pull them up a second.
Okay, thanks, Aaron.
There's going to be 2 awnings. They're both 11 foot in width. They are retractable. The awning material, it's going to be a black awning. It is a sunsetter awning, retractable awning. This is being purchased through Amazon. It's going to be mounted on the front of the building, approximately 7 feet 8 inches high. Come out 9 feet. There will be a pitch. So the bottom drawing, if you go from the outside shutters of the 2 windows, come in about 4 inches. That's where the awnings will end. There'll be 2 of them, so the center, the other end will be in the center of the entryway. Well, they'll butt up against each other. It'll
Okay.
come out to a little under 6 feet above that railing.
Are they electric or are they manual?
They're manual.
Okay. I just looked up Sunsetter on my phone, so I understand what
It's
you're
just a very simple awning. I did a manual retraction just to make sure less chance of not working.
And would your goal be to put them up and take them down after in a post-vaccine world, or are these permanent?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
I mean, if the historic commission wants me to take them down after post-vaccine, I would take them down. If I found it was useful for rainy days, I would leave them up.
okay. I have more questions, but I don't want to monopolize the start of the conversation. So why don't we go around our virtual table? Nico, do you have any questions or comments?
No, I just would like to see what it's going to look like, or what the actual unit looks like.
I can send it to Cindy and have her send it out to everybody.
That would be helpful.
I probably should have had that in the application.
Yeah, that'd be helpful. But
If you look at the front of the building, the lower picture, the horizontal white piece of trim, it's going to be mounted just above that.
And is it going to be white itself, or what color is it going to be?
The awnings are black.
Or black? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm pulling an image up.
You said it was
Um,
awnings?
What's that?
What was the name? What was the brand?
This is
Sunsetter.
a sunsetter awning,
Okay.
and Tim has a picture. It's just a simple awning.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Patterson, do you have any questions or comments?
I do not have any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Garnet?
Yeah, hi, Guy. So I wrote my notes down. So you'd have the retractable awnings, and then you would have plexiglass. And where would the plexiglass be?
The plexiglass will be invisible to the eye. It will be mounted on the inside of that railing.
Yeah, okay.
So what I'm trying to do is create a space that is open, from chest up when somebody's sitting down. Just a safe environment that's somewhat warm.
So Guy, I frequent your establishment quite often, so I'm very familiar with where this is. So the plexiglass obviously wouldn't extend where the stairs go up into the main entrance.
No, it would.
And so there would be some openness to this. It's
Correct.
It's
Yes.
trying to at least keep it a little bit more protected. So my second question, kind of along the lines of whether you intend that to be permanent or temporary, the plexiglass.
Is the plexiglass would definitely come out as the weather improves, probably late March.
Okay. Okay. My other question, and then I'll stop, is what are you going to do about snow with that?
I will retract that awning each night.
Okay. All right. I'm good.
Okay. Jennifer, questions or comments?
You've already all asked my questions. I just thought it was whether it was going to be temporary or permanent. And my only comment would be, I feel like we've approved awnings like this in the historic district. I think we did one at the property next to Morrow's last year.
Okay.
There are plenty of awnings like this in the historic district on contributing buildings. And I think during COVID, this is going to give them that extra space they need to have a business.
Okay.
This is the only way I'm really going to have any indoor like seating. There's some indoor seating, but a lot of people aren't feeling safe inside.
Okay. Thanks, Jennifer. Dan, do you have any questions or comments?
No questions, but I like the idea of the plexiglass on the inside of the railing because I agree with Guy. I don't think you'll even notice it. And it will act as a non-noticeable barrier to the wind in the winter, and as opposed to something that's not see-through like plexiglass. So I think it's a good idea, the plexiglass.
Okay. Did I miss anyone? No.
This is Keith. I had one more question as a follow-up. Do we have in our guidelines anything that defines a time limit, or is that just a discussion that we like to have in terms of installations?
We don't. So my memory on these types of issues, the two, and I think I brought this up last meeting, the two that I remember since I've been on the commission was a long-standing agreement with or requirement with Wally's about when their isinglass and enclosures kind of went up and down, fall and spring. And we applied that same logic to Bodie's when they asked for their porch enclosure of isinglass and canvas as well. So there are requirements we can establish around seasonality for these sorts of things. This one feels a little different to me because it's permanently attached to the building. Those other options were sort of snap in or bolt on kinds of things. So this is a little more permanent, but I think we can, that's kind of why I asked a question about what guys, what your plans are in terms of permanence for the awning. Because I can imagine if you're gonna spend that amount of money to put retractable awnings, you're probably not going to take them off and dispose of them, or you can't sell them because they're probably purpose made size wise for the front of the building.
No, but I can mount them where they could be easily taken off.
Yeah. But I think, Keith, to your point, my only question, other than what anyone has asked already, is to Jennifer's point around this application for this type of awning on a contributing structure. That's sort of one part of the conversation. For me, the temporary nature is more about putting some guidelines around the plexi. So if I first heard you say behind the railing, and in my mind I went up to the chair rail, but realizing that's probably not what you want. You probably want the plexi to go up to meet the bottom of the awning.
No,
Oh.
definitely not. No.
Okay, good.
No, the whole purpose of this is to have an open space.
Gotcha.
So people feel safe. So the plexiglass will not extend above the railing.
Okay, good. That's
So,
great. Because
I want it open from if somebody's sitting down from chest up to the bottom of the awning to about 6 feet.
Yeah, and Tim, this is just Keith getting educated. So it sounds like we don't have to put this on a follow-up because there's no time limit to what we may or may not approve. Is that correct?
I think so. I mean, if there were some sort of rig that went on the railings to do what I thought you were asking, that in my mind, we would put a time horizon on that. And if this were I'm making it up right now for the illustration, but if this were 2 freestanding tents on the porch with isinglass sides, we would put a time horizon on that. And that's within our purview to do that. This feels a little more straightforward.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, you can put any conditions on the approval that you see fit. So if you think that the plexiglass should be removed from April through the end of September, that could be a condition. Or if you think,
yeah, I would do that if it was a condition or not.
And then my only other question, Guy, is on the ends. So Garnett asked about the steps going up, obviously, but on the ends, is there any barrier planned that we should know about that's?
No, the railing to the west, that does wrap to, right to the building. So that would be plexiglass. The railing to the east, I would just have the plexiglass to the point where the awning ends. When the awning ends, the plexiglass ends.
Okay. And similarly, these awnings sometimes have, and on this website that I quickly pulled up, sometimes have options for drop down canvas on the ends of them. So where it comes out from the building to the, on the bottom photo, kind of horizontally as a curtain almost.
Like
You're not planning on doing that?
No, they'll be like a 4-inch.
Got it. Like a balance. Yeah.
Yeah, but it will be straight.
Okay.
Yeah, very simple.
I feel like as we get to a motion on this, if we don't have it in our packet and it doesn't feel like we do, we would want a cut sheet from the website with the color and size of the awning. So, part number or a catalog number, whatever it is, so that we can make sure from a staff approval standpoint, we understand what we're approving. I would think we would want to make that part of that motion.
Yeah, I can get that to you as soon as tomorrow.
Okay. Does anyone else have questions that we didn't cover? Would anyone like to entertain a motion?
This is Nico. I'll make a motion. I suggest that we approve the petitioner's petition for the awning as submitted, with the addition of him submitting a cut sheet to the city offices tomorrow.
Great. Do we have a second?
Second, Patterson.
Thank you, Keith. Is there any more discussion? Okay. If no more discussion, signify your approval by saying yes. Patterson,
Yes.
Leo,
Yes.
Davenport,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Nonzo,
Yes.
Straker is a yes. Motion passes. Thank you,
Job.
Guy. Thanks for coming
Job.
in.
Yeah, thank you guys for all you do.
You bet.
And Cindy, I'll send that to you tomorrow.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Cindy, are there any other administrative approvals or updates?
No, there are none.
It's a quiet autumn.
Yeah, for some people.
Yeah, right. Not for you.
Yeah.
Any further communication?
Nothing. Well, we
Public
did
comment?
have one from Peg Sanford, but the proposal for the band shell has not been submitted yet. So I will try to keep that on the top of my list to include that when we do get information about the band shell.
Great, thank you. Do you have any insight into November's agenda?
No, but it's a little scary being that close to the election, but
Yeah.
I'll do my best.
I just didn't know if I didn't. I was more curious about the number of applicants or any activity that we might anticipate.
I haven't heard any.
Okay. Any other commission comment?
I'd like to, Cindy had sent me over a letter from, who was it from Cindy from Fire Department about igloos, tents, and
Oh, yes.
enclosures. Can we maybe share that with the rest of the commissioners?
Yes.
Yeah, well, as you all know, we have a bed and breakfast, and we're probably going to be putting in an application to add either some greenhouses on our back deck as temporary structures for this type of weather, and possibly, until COVID's over, we can't have our guests all dine together in the dining room anymore.
Yep.
So part of what we've done is we've added in-room dining, but we've also found some structures that we might want to put on our back deck for the winter, or for the fall and spring, maybe the winter. But I'm wondering if we could share that information from the fire department, so that, I asked for it because I talked to Cindy yesterday, but there's so many business owners that need to extend their outdoor space, at least into first fall and spring, that I think we should share that information.
I think it's a great idea. Also, I just think we have to be savvy in a pre-vaccine world, what businesses are dealing with, including all the options and solutions that people might be coming to propose. And we're starting to gather a nice little inventory of those ideas, and we should be familiar with all of them and think about both their temporary nature, how they could translate to permanent, whether we want that to happen or not, what the safety issues are.
Exactly.
So I think it's a really great call out.
Yeah, instead of all of us going out and trying to figure out what we should or can do, if we get that initial feedback out to people from the fire department, what they're saying up front, then you're not going to be chasing down, fruitless trails.
Yeah, and this is Keith here. I think the question is, that's a great point. We're the first stop for the approval process. Is that correct? So if somebody doesn't know what the downstream requirements are for fire protection and so forth, we're the first ones that may comment on it. Is that correct?
That's almost correct. When I get the first inquiry, I do talk about the fire department and suggest that they go see the fire department before they spend any money. So I make every effort to get that information out. Like when Jennifer came and talked to me, I knew I had that. I just didn't have my hands on it at the moment, so I sent it to her.
So we're sort of usually the first stop, but Cindy, you always are quick to say, this is also a planning commission or a zoning commission.
Yeah,
or
wait a minute.
Like,
yeah. So it's wise to get that information to us so that we're prepared for, the person who shows up that says, well, I'm going to see if I can get this thing through anyway, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
The irony about those structures for me in a historic district is the more temporary they look, the easier of a decision it is, especially in these times. Probably the harder ones are like we just talked about for Guy, are the things that really they're making an investment in. And Jennifer, yours might be the same way, where you're making an investment in it and you don't want it to be for 5 months. You're probably going to want to do it, more permanently or again. So that's why we need to bone up on those ideas, because I think it's the new world we're going to be in for at least 18 months.
Yeah, it's an investment for any business to have a temporary solution, but it's, what are you going to do? You don't have a lot of options. It's a certain amount of money, but your return for being able to operate at some kind of capacity, reasonable capacity is critical.
Yes.
So we don't, this is Keith again. So we don't have a real sense of which proposals that someone would come in with that we would, from an HDC perspective for a temporary structure, would say no.
No, I don't think we do.
Okay.
I think a lot of it is safety. So fire ratings and, how are you going to heat, if you put a little greenhouse or, let's say a greenhouse, how are you going to heat it? Is it going to be safe?
Yeah, but that's downstream from us, right?
Yes.
That's before us. Yeah.
Before or after? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Well, I think just, I don't know that that's really, I don't know if it's a formal procedure. I made an inquiry. I called Cindy and spoke to her about it because she's the first stop for anybody who who's going to file an application for something, I think.
Okay.
And she directed me to the fire department. And then
Okay.
she sent me a letter that they had sent to her. But I think it would be good to have that information out there and put out to all the business owners, the restaurant owners, bed and breakfasts, or I don't know who's going to want to add additional outside seating for the fall and spring at a minimum. But you can't eat outside anymore, really. And
Yeah.
that was our solution all summer. So
I think regardless of upstream or downstream, I think what your point too, Keith, is we always let the applicant know like what we decide on and what we don't. So, hey, yeah, fill out an application for it to come before the commission. Because of timing, we're the first one to probably hear that, but know that it will need to adhere to these rules, and that's governed by a different organization.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was looking for was, and then Cindy is our filter to try and help direct them to something that says, if you go to ATC first, which is usually the first stop, you may want to get educated on what's allowable from a
Correct.
fire protection and all the other things standpoint, correct?
yes.
Okay.
Just another point. Not only do I think we should give it to every commissioner should have that information now, but I think we could put that out there for the business community. I think that would be really helpful. Let people know what's kind of what's going on, or just to get them thinking about what are your options, or what aren't your options more more appropriately.
Yeah, one thing I've been curious about is, Garn, maybe you know this, but the sort of street space that businesses used in the summer. If somebody wants to do a temporary structure, can they do that within that right of way, or is that off limits?
Well, Cindy, I'm going to ask for your help here because as long as it doesn't obstruct the sidewalk, as far as folks walking up and down the sidewalk, then it's okay. I'll let Cindy add to that. Cindy?
Right. What the council approved for me to administratively issue extended permits into November would not allow for tents in the right of way. For two reasons. One is snow removal. A snow plow comes by down your street at 25 miles an hour and knocks your tent into the end of the street end into the river. I'm sorry. It's at your risk to put something in the right of way. And the other thing is, it's kind of difficult to find transparent sides to a tent, and traffic with pedestrians walking out between cars is hard enough, but if they're walking out from a tent that is 6 or 8 feet tall and you can't see people walking in, it's a real risk to pedestrians. And I know they're supposed to cross at the crosswalks, and I know all of you know nobody crosses at the crosswalks, maybe a few, but it's kind of a free-for-all out there for pedestrians. And I would hate to see somebody walk out from behind a tent and get hit by a car, even at 25 miles an hour or less.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. All right, thanks for bringing that up, Jennifer. Does anyone have anything else? If not, I promise you I will get the nominations on the calendar for our next time. I'm sorry about that. And if not, do I have a motion to adjourn? Also
Motion
move.
to adjourn. Yeah.
Garnet seconds. Any discussion? We'll do a roll call. All in favor signify by saying yes. Lewis?
Yes.
Davenport?
Yes.
Patterson?
Yes.
Bonanzo?
Yes.
Leo?
Yes.
Straker, yes. Okay, We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Have a good
Thanks,
evening.
Ken.
Thank you.
Um,
Bye-bye.
Bye, ciao.